Welcome back, everybody. This is Sergeant Orwell. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Sunday. Today is May 12th, Mother's Day. And not only for it's a special day for mothers, but it is a special day for myself and my wife. We are celebrating our first year anniversary today. So Tiana, love you, baby. And thank you for sticking it out for that first year. Here's to many more to come. And for all the mothers, to include my beautiful wife, thank you for being super moms, showing up and uh, everything that you do. You guys are amazing and we love you. So, and this is part three of my little mini series of I Am Sergeant L. Today, I'm going to be talking about my first duty station. I briefly talked about it on the last video, how when I got my orders in technical school, um, I ended up getting orders to Lackland Air Force Base, which I wasn't too happy about. Luckily, there was another team member in my team that she was willing to exchange and swap out the orders with me. She ended up getting Minot, North Dakota, and we ended up talking to our instructor and tried to do a one-for-one swap. It took a little while for me to get my clearance, but I finally ended up getting my clearance several months later, and I ended up in Minot, North Dakota. Prior to leaving there, this goes to all new airmen or all incoming applicants and troops that are considering joining the Air Force. Um, take everything you hear with a grain of salt in regards to people's preference or experiences, right? Don't take everything for face value as far as I had a bad experience here, or I've heard things about XYZ. I definitely that's not how I operate, and I hope you don't as well. Like you end up operating outside of that you don't just take somebody's word for what it is, especially if it's negative. Um, yeah, so when some of my team members ended up finding out that I was trying to change out for Minot, they were the majority of them were trying to convince me not to go because all they've heard was bad things, and it's a northern tier base in North Dakota. It's pretty much Arctic climate type of weather. Me being a southern boy, being from Texas, most people didn't think I would like it, nor would I would do well there. And I just wanted a new experience. All I've known up to that point has been pretty much southern states. I think the only thing I've ever experienced that was relatively cold, and I wouldn't even say it was close to what I experienced in Minot, was Chicago weather during the winter. We used to go out there and visit my uncle, my mother's oldest brother, and his kids for the holidays, and that was pretty cold, and I even enjoyed it. So the slogan that you hear, especially when it like Minot was why not Minot, right? And if you the only the best go north, that's actually their slogan on the entry gate. And when you come in that main sign, uh it's definitely a culture shock when I got there. And even with what people were telling me, especially coming from my team members, one of my biggest I wouldn't say complaints, but questions that I would ask them was, well, you've never been there. You're only going off what you've heard. So who are you to tell me what the experience might be like, right? And this kind of touches back into all your day-to-day life, right? You don't take, I wouldn't, but why would you take advice from those that one haven't experienced what you're looking to experience or have come close to doing said thing, right? You wouldn't go to a non-mechanic and ask them mechanic questions so you get whatever the issue is repaired, right? Same with life. If you are trying to grow yourself, your business, or whatever it may be, or even just educate yourself, do the work, research, and then talk to those that have the experience and have, you know, uh, experience in it, plain and simple. And uh, the outcome would be significantly better. So, yeah, I ended up talking to a couple uh, older cats that had friends that were stationed there. They put me in contact with those individuals, and it was 50-50. You either love it or you hate it. I think that's pretty much the same across the board with any base. You're always going to find individuals that hate it, and it's mainly because they don't get out of their own way to experience that environment, whether it's sitting in the dorm all day, not doing anything, playing video games, and just going to work and coming back to the dormitories and not doing anything with their lives. Often I found that those individuals were the ones that complained the most about their experience at that location being what's it called? Not as great, right? Oh, I didn't do anything. There was nothing to do. That was usually the common statements or phrases that I would hear from individuals like that. And I wasn't one of those. I went there with every intent just to get a new experience, right? So I ended up leaving for Minot early fall. I think I got there around right before around September, late September. I would say mid to late September. And they, like a week after I got there, they started experiencing their first snow of the year. And it was like light flurries and everything. And so, yeah, I got there and it was the culture shock it was a very flat area of the US, a lot of crops and fields, uh, barely any trees that I could remember. Tree lines were little to none in the some certain areas, a lot of dead spots. So cell phones were kind of in and out, very interim cell service. And yeah, so if you're like a country boy or gal, like hunting, fishing, stuff like that, most of those individuals did really well. And at that time, I still hadn't experienced stuff like that. And I know there's a misconception with Texas folks that we like our guns, we like hunting, we doing that. It just depends on where you're raised, right? I was kind of in the middle of country and city style living, so I did a little bit of everything, but I never fully experienced like the hunting lifestyle. I had done some fishing and some outdoorsy stuff, but when I got to Minot, I definitely got to experience it a lot. Went hunting, fishing, ice fishing was the scariest thing I think I did there. You literally had people just driving their pickup trucks onto frozen lakes, drill a hole, have this little soft tent put up, and you just sit in it with your pals and just kind of uh, shoot the shit, if you will, and just yeah, tell some stories and see if you catch anything. And often it was just more of just the camaraderie aspect of it. I think it was pretty cool. It was scary as all heck. You hear the ice shifting underneath you, water running and all that stuff. Um, and then we're not that far from the Canadian border too. The closest town I believe that we were next to was Brandon. And I barely remember anything about Brandon. Just very small town. People went up there to drink was pretty much what I gathered from that area. And then you went a little bit further north. It was like another 4 hours. And you had Winnipeg, which Winnipeg wasn't that bad, but recently I've heard Winnipeg's kind of gone downhill. So if you are from Winnipeg or have experienced any of those areas, comment down below. Tell me what the current state of that area is if you've heard anything. And those that are currently in Minot, if you're watching this, if y'all experience that, comment down below and let me know some updates of that area. So yeah, Winnipeg, and then the other small area was Regina, was what it was called. Winnipeg was fun. I would describe it as pretty close to, as far as atmosphere, San Diego, I would say, would be the closest I like one for one. Went up there, partied, the nightlife was cool, a lot of artsy places in that area. Went up there, I would say maybe once or twice every month when I had a chance. The schedule was awesome too, being stationed there. I was part of the 91st Missile Wing, which I'm not entirely sure if I could describe what we did. We just protect nuclear assets. I think I'll leave it at that. Um, and I'm not trying to be secretive and like make my job sound a lot cooler than it was. I'm just not entirely sure what aspects I could talk about within the job. But uh yeah, I've had a blast. I got a lot of opportunity to do school there. So I knocked out a good chunk of my education while I was there and met a lot of cool people, a lot of nice mentors, very chill mentors. I did get into some trouble while I was out there. Those were the younger days of Air Minot. Did end up losing some stripes while I was there. Well, yeah, specifically, I ended up losing my senior airman stripe technically because I never got to put it on, so I only lost one. Uh, I won't go too much detail, but if you want to know more about that situation, y'all could contact me directly and I'll debrief you on that. So, Minot was cool overall. I had a blast. I enjoyed the cold weather and it got cold. Like there were some situations where if you didn't wear all your PPE, which is your protective gear or equipment, uh yeah, you could lose like an appendage, your eyes, especially you have freezing temperature air coming into your eyes. The water in your eyes would literally freeze and some dude almost ended up losing his eyesight because he took off his goggles while he was in the turret and they were driving around during the winter. I ended up getting frostnip in my fingers during a situation. We had a uh, some VP come to visit us at one of the sites, and I was the youngest one there, both in age and in ranking, and so I had to go out there, and since it was so cold, the auto locking mechanisms for the gates that would let people come in and out of our area were frozen. So we had to do everything manually. I go out there, open it up, close it, lock it up with the chain and standard key lock. So I had to go out there and I had these giant mitten gloves that they issued us. And because they were so thick, I couldn't really get the small, tiny little key in. I ended up taking them off real quick, exposing my hand maybe 10 seconds, if anything, just to get the key in, unlock it, and then put the gloves on, open the gate. And in that time, it was enough for like my hand to essentially like freeze up. When I walked back into the building, my hand was like stiff. I could not like close it at all. And I didn't realize it right away because I was kind of caught up with, helping the VP and his entourage come in and, do the introductions and all that. So, and somebody pointed it out and everybody became a doctor essentially. They're like, hey, no, you gotta throw some hot water on it or do this or sit on it or wrap it up, XYZ. Everybody wants you to give their inputs on it. Um, by the way, side note, if you ever are in that situation, never expose your hand or whatever the appendage is to hot water. Like it could potentially cause way more damage. You gradually want the temperature to come or raise the temperature instead of being one extreme to another, because then that could cause tissue damage. So that Sergeant knows tip of the day if you are ever in Arctic conditions. Uh, yeah, so some of my experiences there were really cool. Other than the weather, I got to meet a lot of great leaders, senior leaders. There was this chief, I can't remember his name right now, but he came out. He was brand new to our squadron, and he happened to choose my location or the location I was um, selected for that tour to come out and experience what we did for our job so he could kind of, you know, gauge what we do and not just be in the back office like some leaders, not all leaders. Some of them out there get into the trenches with the younger airmen to try to figure out what they do. And, as you climb the rank, I think it just comes with it. You start it's not, I don't think it's always intentional. It becomes part of the rank that you hold, and your responsibilities change. So it's not no fault of their own. But I do respect a lot of the ones that when they get that far disconnected from the trenches that they're wanting to come back into it and say, hey, look, I've been away from this for a long period of time. I don't, or this is new to me. This is a different aspect of my job that I've never done. And I'm wanting to experience it as you guys. And that's definitely something I respect a lot. So he came out there and I got in trouble, kind of. The situation was he was assigned with us and he got paired up with me, and me being the youngest troop in the team, they're like, hey, just, if he has questions, answer the questions and kind of give him the rundown of what we do. So I was all right, no problem, right? I'm kind of very straightforward, dude. Sure. We got out to the field and then we were doing our changeover. and and during our changeover, we have to walk around the facility, check what we need to check with our counterpart that are leaving, right? So, and I was like, hey, chief, we got to do this part of our job, uh, suit up. So he was like, all right, no problem. He didn't even question it. He was just cool about it. And as soon as I said that in front of everybody, I didn't think anything of it. And I didn't realize it then, but everybody kind of gave me a really wide-eyed look, like, who are you to tell the chief this, right? And so we go out there, we do the whole changeover, we check all our stuff, come back in, take our gear off, relax, and it's essentially we're waiting and being readily available if anything it is required from us as far as security goes. And later that evening, one of the NCOs pulled me aside, which non-commissioned officers is what NCO stands for those that you don't know. Pulled me aside and he's like, hey, what you did earlier, don't do that again. It's kind of disrespectful to tell the chief. And I was confused and I even questioned it. I was just like, well, you asked me to show him what we do, and what better way to show him than actually have him do it. And he didn't seem to mind. So what's the problem here? And it's something that it wasn't something bad that I did. And it's kind of like unspoken rules. There's certain things that as you climb the ranks, you know, I guess it's just not expected because of, you've earned the right to not do that, but there's nothing in regulations that say you can't. And the chief was cool about it. I even asked him later on, I was like, hey, sir, did, what I said or me telling you what to do overstep any boundaries? And he was like, nah, man, you're good. And I respect that. And, I'm here to learn the job. So teach me the job. Treat me like I'm a brand new airman fresh out of tech school. And yeah, we're good. So I was like, all right, cool, we're good then. And we were out there for a couple of days. Uh, and yeah, no, he was pretty cool about it. He ended up coining me. So the coins, which I'll show you guys one. It's not his because it's in storage, but I have a couple other ones. I have several. So challenge coins, this is one of many that I have. This one, these two, I designed when I got to my third duty station, this Zach logo. I have many here on to the right of me and a couple others in storage. So coins for those that are coming into the Air Force or just watching this and just for entertainment. Challenge coins, if you don't know, these are given often as gifts or acknowledgement of something that you did, whether outstanding performance or just something other than the standard certificates of achievements and stuff like that that you would get. A senior ranking leader would often have their customized coin as such, and they're coming on different shapes and sizes. This is just an example. Um, Different deployments and stuff like that. You could get them as well. You could buy them. There are some individuals that buy them just because they look cool. I think I only ever purchased two, and they were from like a unit that I was assigned to for a specific mission, and I bought those. But outside of that, all the other coins I have in my collection were gifted to me for various achievements or things that I've accomplished or was a part of by the senior leaders at that point. So yeah, he ended up coining me and it was pretty cool. So that kind of started my collection, getting into the collection of coins at that point. You get one when you graduate basic training, you all get the standard, right? Basic training, graduation coin. So when you make it through basic training, you earn your airman coin. Uh, so yeah, that was my time in Minot. I was there about 2 years, and then a lot of stuff happened towards the end in 2008. And if you know, you know. If you want to research that, feel free to research that. Um, but I ended up getting orders out of Minot to Incirlik, Turkey, and I'll talk about that on the next video. But yeah, Minot was awesome. It was definitely an experience. I enjoyed it. And the local tribes too, they were pretty cool. Uh, Me being the complexion that I have and my ambiguous facial structure. I don't know. I don't know how best to put it. Yeah. I get confused a lot for Native American. Have been told specific Pacific Islander or Filipino too. I have a very ambiguous face in regards to culturally ambiguous. That's what I was looking for. Culturally ambiguous look. So it helped out and going to like the casino down there and just chilling with the natives. Got to go to a few powwows. That was pretty cool. Um, yeah, so yeah, it was pretty awesome. Mine was fun. So if you are security forces and you're watching this, again, things change rapidly in every location. Might not be what it was to me currently. But all I can really tell you is make the best of it, even if it's not an assignment that you weren't planning on going to. Sitting there and moping about it is going to make it go that much slower. So showing up, do the job, take the extra time that you have, go to school, learn a new skill. Minot, when I was stationed in Minot, there were the education center had a lot of opportunities for various certifications. They had the auto body shop, which most bases have. You want to learn a little bit more automotive skills to do your own maintenance on your vehicle. You have tools and all that stuff that you could use. I took advantage of all of that, and it helped me out a lot, right? My father stepped out of my life early on, so there's a lot of skill sets that I didn't get to learn through him. So I ended up picking them up, and through other individuals that I befriended along the way that had those set of skills as well. Uh, Changing oil, rotating tires, filters, all that stuff, very basic stuff that honestly we all should know how to do at a very basic level and should know how to do this and have knowledge behind it. You don't want to get swindled when you go to an auto body shop, not just for repairs, but like just for standard oil changes. And then if you don't know, they could just tell you whatever. And there are some shady people out there, unfortunately, but uh, there's the other half that aren't. But at least having that knowledge, some basic information, and at least you can be wise and discerning when you choose who you want to work with. And that kind of filters out through any part of your life with anything, right? So having some knowledge behind some of the areas and making the best of everything. I think having that kind of mindset definitely helped me out a lot instead of just focusing on what everybody else was saying, all the negative stuff about Minot and um, even being a cop, right? I didn't have any uh, specific expectations coming in as a cop. It was something that I made a deal with my recruiter at that point. Just, hey, look, I'm trying to leave a town and start, a new chapter in my life away from my family to be on my own. And whatever that looks like, I'll roll with the punches, right? I didn't complain about it. I just did it. And sometimes some situations become hard and it's easy to kind of just revert into like, ah, this sucks or whatever. But having those mentors or some of those friends that have that encourage you to have that different type of mindset definitely helped out. Or even, now I do occasionally experience situations where I find myself complaining about stuff that I could easily change, and it's just an attitude adjustment. And I love my wife for it too, because she definitely calls me out on it, right? She'll It's like, hey man, you're just complaining right now, fix it. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So surround yourself by those types of individuals. I think it definitely helps out a lot, right? So, and for all those that have been in my life in Minot and know me from way back when and are watching this, thank you for being in my life, and any words of wisdom that you gave me along the way, I very much appreciate it. And those that are new to hear and to just me as a whole, and if you're watching this as one of the many hundreds of individuals that signed this flag up here that I put into the Air Force when I was a recruiter, I hope that you guys are doing well and you guys are flourishing in your careers. And I wish you all the best. And yeah, that concludes today's little story. So again, thank you to all the mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day. Without y'all, we would not be here, of course. And for all the super moms putting in the work, it's not easy. And thank y'all. And Tiana, I love you. Happy anniversary. And until next time, guys, thank you for, being here as long as this video has been up. And I'll see you on the next one on part 4. All right. Y'all take care. God bless.